Hello, my name is Bethany Yamas, and I would like to introduce myself so that you know a little bit more about who I am. These are some pictures of my family. My husband and I have 5 children that range, the baby is 7 years old, and my oldest daughter just turned 24. So we have a lot of kids at our house. My oldest daughter is actually married. She got married a couple of years ago. As for my teaching experience, I am just within the next 2 weeks completing 11 years as a teacher. I have taught both bilingual and general ed. Right now, I am only teaching gen ed classes because the campus that I transferred to December of this school year that we're still in, I transferred to a different district and to a campus that is not bilingual. They are ESL. And so I actually didn't even have any bilingual students in my class for the remainder of this year, but hopefully next year I will again. I have taught, whenever I started out, I started in the junior high. I started in 7th and 8th grade, and then they moved me to 5th and 6th grade. After that, I taught some years in the 2nd grade. I've taught kindergarten, and then I moved up to 4th grade and then 3rd grade, and now I'm back to kindergarten again. And I love kindergarten. I love every single grade level that I've taught. I just think that the kids are the same. They just get a little bit bigger and they have a little bit more abilities, but for me, kids truly act the same. It doesn't matter how old they are, but I love kindergarten because they're just so kind and sweet, and you can really give them some good skills in life, good skill sets, like helping them to learn to be kind and tolerant with their friends and learning how to work together. I am a second language learner. I learned Spanish when I took 4 years in high school, and then my major, when I studied for my bachelor's degree, my major is Spanish, and so I had to learn, and so I understand from the perspective as a student. I know that it can be very frustrating when you're trying to explain yourself and the word that you exactly want to use just escapes your attention, like you can't remember what it was, or it's just past what you're saying, and it becomes very frustrating. And so I also have had very good experiences as a second language learner. As a teacher, that has helped me better to understand my students and the struggles that they have as they are learning a second language. My bilingual education experience, as a student, I took some of my core classes for my bachelor's degree. I took them only in Spanish, and I would say probably the bulk of my core classes for my major were in Spanish. That means the instruction was delivered in Spanish and the work was expected to be in Spanish. And I remember my first day whenever I walked in and I sat down, I looked around the classroom, and I was like, oh my goodness, I am like the only girl here that's not a Latina. I'm the only person that's not Latino here, and I don't, they're all going to speak so much better than I do. And I was very, very surprised at how the different ability levels were, even in that classroom, when I perceived that they were all fluent Spanish speakers, and they weren't really. As a teacher, that helped me a lot to not go into situations like with a pre-prejudice, just thinking, oh, just because they're Latino, they automatically speak Spanish, or vice versa. And it's helped me a lot with my students. And as a parent, I have 5 children, and my children, they know varying levels of Spanish. And my 2 youngest boys, they both were in the dual language program. And my baby still is. And that it has helped me as a parent, understanding how it works at school as the teacher, also understanding as a student, and then learning, knowing as a parent how to navigate that with my children's teachers. What do I know about English as a second language or SIOP? What experience do I have? I perceive that it is best practice teaching across the board. And the more years that I'm a teacher, the more ESL and SIOP and bilingual and gen ed teaching or instructional delivery, the more they run together for me, because I feel like it is absolutely best practice teaching. It is intentional support and scaffolding of students, all the way from specifically and intentionally planning lessons to planning the supports that need to be in place. And it's also about being flexible when you're in the middle of a situation, when you realize that you need to regroup and try something different, or it takes a turn to a different place, you know, and you're having to teach things that you weren't aware of. And I think that it is best practice teaching. And I'm looking forward to this course to learn more about it so that I can articulate that better. My motivation to remain a teacher, number one foremost will be the students. I love students, I love children, and right behind that is my strong desire to help others to succeed. I started off, my family was very, very poor, and I didn't have all of the opportunities that I probably could have as a result of that. And so I know that from the struggles that I have had to get to where I am to be a teacher, it has helped me a lot when I look back, and I acknowledge that I didn't have to struggle with second language acquisition when I was a child. However, you know, having studied it and being a teacher for 11 years, I definitely know how it affects families, how it affects students, and how to better help them. And that's my number one goal, is just to help each student and each family that I come in contact with to be their best and to succeed in their world. And that's what motivates me to be a teacher, and that's what keeps me going back to the classroom every year. It's just to help students to be happy and to find you know, the peace inside of themselves when they know that they're doing the best that they can do. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I look forward to working with you.